Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. What's going on, everyone? It is Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran, back for another banger. I got a very special guest on today. Free gave me his time and said, look, let's talk about how people can get money on this other side. Because I was like, nobody does Unison Marketplace free. He was like, I do it and I make money. And I was like, oh, snap. We need to talk about that because I know there's a lot of people who want to understand how it works. And then also when we had our conversation, you were telling me some other things and I'm like, yo, he figured it out. He figured out like life. He figured out business life. And he is really ahead of his time at his young age. He didn't tell me how old he was, but I know he said he was young. And I'm just so excited for him to be able to share some of this information with y'all. So Free, please tell us about yourself.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Sheena, for giving me this platform, and thank you for having the platform. I think that what you're doing is very valuable, and people who take advantage of the information that you give and take advantage of the opportunities that you put right in front of them, there's no way they can't win. So I just want to thank you for being selfless, because that is, you don't have to do this. You don't have to have a platform to highlight other people's accomplishments as well as your own. So that's huge. Kudos to you and all the success. I think you hit like 1 million of views the other day or something. Are we speaking that?
Views. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. So congratulations on that. And thank you for having me on this platform. And to everyone, I just want to introduce myself briefly. My name is Francis Ikome. My friends call me Free, though, so you can call me Free or Francis, whatever rolls off your tongue. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? I think me and you might be neighbors and we just don't even know it.
You're probably right.
Right. But I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 25 years old. I'm going to be 26 this December. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm pushing 30 soon. I'm pushing 30.
Wait, stop. Wait. For my 30 plus crew, he said he's 25 pushing 30.
I'm pushing 30. I'm crossing that line.
Face. We're giving you that face, but go ahead.
I'm crossing that line. But yeah, so I've done a couple of different things in my 20s business wise. I've done it's ranged from network marketing to Turo to real estate, even corporate tech, and I've landed in government contracting this year. So a lot of people that know me know that I'm kind of like I'm a person that when I get into something, I really want to see it through, right? So if I start a venture, I have to see some kind of success for me to stop. And when you see the success, you don't want to stop, so that's why I have so many different things that I have going on, but I'm very invested and interested in each of them.
That's perfect. Because like a lot of people will say, okay, I didn't make this dollar amount in the first 30 days. It doesn't work. I don't want to do it. But you're saying don't stop until it works. But then when it works, you don't want to stop. But
Absolutely.
Some knowledge already for a minute.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, so let's get right into that. Now, you said you did MLMs, network marketing. So share that and then share what type of real estate you did.
Awesome. Okay, so I graduated 2020, the year of COVID, and so it was a very tough year to graduate. We didn't have any ceremony or anything like that. So getting out of college, so I was working at Zaxby's up until I graduated college. So I was there for about 5 years. Wow. So the day that I actually quit was when I realized that I was the only one in there with a college degree. And I was like, oh, okay, it's my time to go. So the next move, I applied to like a bunch of corporate jobs. And because the pandemic was going on, it was very hard to actually get to the second round of interviews. So I had interviews with Deloitte, Assurant, like major tech companies. And accounting firms, but I wasn't able to get in the door at that time because it was such a bad period of time. Now, what was happening at that time was MLM. The younger group of college kids, and from 18 to like 30, MLM was pretty much up and coming. It was on the rise. So I started out. It was a company that taught people how to trade, and I
Does
was
it
in.
begin with an F and end with a Rex?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yes, actually, yes. I thought you meant the
oh
company,
Lord.
but
Mm.
yes, yes, it definitely does believe. It definitely does begin with an F, and
And we're Rex. We know that one.
I actually don't regret. So I'm gonna clear this up. I actually don't regret it at all because I think it taught a lot of valuable lessons about business. Now, of course, in every opportunity, especially when you're dealing with people and MLMs and structure, there's gonna be people who are gonna be left behind, and those people, they're gonna deem the opportunity as unfair, right? And there actually are times where the opportunity is unfair,
Mm.
but from my personal experience, what I took away from it, and just the type of person that I am, it was a great learning lesson because it taught me how to deal with people at a different level. And it also taught me how to deal with losses, complaints, just customer service, coming from 5 years working at Zaxby's into just teaching people how to trade or being their mentor or teaching people how to, recruit and bring in other people. It was like a whole new ball game for me. And what it actually taught me, which translated to the next business venture, which was wholesaling real estate. It translated because now I got to cold call people. Now I got to sell. I never thought of myself as like a salesman. So that opportunity kind of just led me perfectly into the next, to where I was calling sellers. We were dispo. We were doing a lot in that space, and I had an amazing partner at the time, and we saw a lot of success very early on, and that was 2022. In 2022, we did six figures in our business, and not the 100K six figures too. We did a little bit more than that.
Hey, hey, talk your ish. I like it.
We did that in like 6 months, and
Wow.
of course 2023 came, the market changed, and business as sometimes you may have it, people go their separate ways, and that's what happened with me and my former partner. And because of that, I was still doing other ventures like Turo and a lot of other different things that didn't allow me to have time to really pour into the real estate business. And as it was getting more and more difficult and more competitive, because you don't need too much money to get in that space,
Right.
right? So now everybody is doing it, and I'm kind of getting kicked out of the door with my own strategy. So, and
Dang.
so
Okay.
that led me to the next venture, which is GovCon. So I
Okay.
still got the
Before we get
Toro
into that,
business running. Yeah, talk to me.
okay, we
Talk to
got
me.
a lot of comments. So I appreciate everybody that's on. But there's so many comments that I'm just gonna hit a couple of highlights. And of course, Ivan, always a supporter all the way from UK. This is about to be amazing beyond words. I told Ivan, I said, find me somebody that understands unison. You failed me, Ivan, but that's okay. You here, because I found them first. Okay. Shout out to Casino, also a huge supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. And Joy, hey, shout out to Joy. Hey, I just talked to her on. We actually met up on this past weekend. Sheena has
Amazing.
the best guest. Yeah, wait till y'all hear what he got to say, because I was like, oh my God, I am too impressed. Too impressed. Okay, shout out to my sister India. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I hit a millie. Thank y'all. And then Ivan also says, share that Zaxby sauce recipe. Did they give
Mayonnaise.
y'all a recipe?
It's mayonnaise, and mayonnaise and a whole bunch of
Oh,
other stuff.
mayonnaise plus. Okay, got it. And shout out to my mom. Hey, mommy. Hello. And a couple of GovConNOW students, Crystal and Shonda. Thank you. Okay, cool. So all of y'all, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit like on the way in, because there's a lot of y'all in here already. We just started. He hasn't even gotten to the secret sauce, not the Zaxby sauce, but the secret sauce yet. And y'all are like really showed up in here. So I appreciate everybody that's on. Make sure you share this video. Again, like, and if you appreciate what my man is saying, do the super chat, super stickers. Really appreciate it. Okay, so boom. One thing I want to point out though, a friend and I kind of talked about like the correlation between being a wholesaler and
Mm,
doing MLM and
mhm.
how they're usually successful at business.
Mhm.
Now, I wasn't all that great at MLMs. I
Oh,
had
you did it.
several. I did
You,
several, be way before all that stuff came out. I've done a few, and then I also wholesaled. I didn't do that well at wholesaling either because it was too much. It was too much for me. I made a little bit of money, but I was solo dolo. I wasn't really built for it. But it just
mhm.
seems like there's a correlation between the two, and I will agree with you that it teaches you how to like be almost shameless for one, because you got people telling you, "Hell no, get out of my face before I slap you," and then even when wholesaling you're dealing with people's emotions sometimes,
Absolutely.
and like being
And they
super.
tell you the same thing. They tell you, get out of my face, fly slap. Yep, same thing.
And you got to be creative. Like your marketing has got to be creative, all that stuff. And you did it during like the pandemic, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom, now you're like the market changed. You getting booted, kind of like slowly pushed out of the door of wholesaling. And so then, how did you find GovCon for the first time?
So my older sister actually told me about it. She doesn't she's not in the business, or she doesn't do the business, but she knows so much. So she was just giving me information about how I can secure a government contract with my cars and provide cars. But she was not saying it in the sense of, hey, there's a platform out there that you can bid. She was just saying like, hey, with the business you currently already have, maybe there's a government
Hmm.
contract that could suit you, or that you could use to kind of make your business grow. But I really wasn't interested because I was on Turo. Turo was doing pretty good at the time, and it just seemed like a lot of work. But um, I because of that bug that she put in my ear, I started doing a little bit of research on my own, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually like project management. And my partner, who's a project manager, I sent it to her, and I was like, hey, you'd be great at this. And it wasn't until like, I think she brushed it off a little bit when I sent it to her. She's like, okay, here you go again, trying to, put me on to a new business venture or start a new business venture. But it wasn't until maybe 4 to 6 months later that she actually, took the step to actually start signing up for things and really looking into it. And she was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And so I give, all the credit to her for the start of it, because if it wasn't for her, probably I'd still be trying to wholesale right now. And I'm still
Wow.
in that business. I'm still in the wholesaling realm. But now I think that the strategies are a little bit different, right? Instead of putting all my eggs in that basket, I understand how to take advantage of this opportunity in GovCon and also maximize that opportunity in real estate. So
Got it.
yeah, so that's how I got started.
Said period. Okay. Alexa said period. That's how you kind of like navigate through. And I tell people, no matter what business you start, even if it's MLM, whatever, it might get you to the next thing that you actually want to do, or the next thing that you're gonna do. So you
Absolutely.
probably thought when you signed up with F dot 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 Rex that
Yes.
you're probably doing that forever, or that's maybe you didn't even think about what you were going to do next, or even
Yes.
Zaxby's. I mean, some of these corporate fast food companies have they're really great companies in general. So you could
It's
have
true.
worked your way up there. Who knows, right? Still making six figures, but sometimes you got to try these things in order to see what you'll get to in the end, right? Okay, so
Very
boom. Now you guys are like, okay, government contracting, blah, 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 the bug is out. You both are kind of like figuring it out. Was it federal or was it local,
It
or
was
you didn't
federal.
even know?
We
Federal.
went federal from the jump.
Okay, so you signed up for Sam,
Yes.
and then you were like, "Ooh, what's on here?" Is that how it
Literally.
works?
Literally. I
Okay.
think we watched a lot of video. Well, I watched a lot of videos. My partner, she's more of the type of person that when she understands the concept, she's ready to jump right into it. I might
That's
take
key.
my time to be like, oh, let me continue to watch. Oh, let me continue to get motivated. Oh, let me get them butterflies in my stomach before I actually jump in. But because she watched a couple of videos, she was like, okay, this is how to set up Sam. This is how to set up this. This is how to get your cage code. Okay, we need this. So we literally sat down one day and we just started knocking things out. And before we even got our credentials, we were already working on our first bid. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So at the time that we actually got our cage code was the same day that the first bid we were working on was due. So we got it.
Wow.
We got the cage code the same day. And I know a lot of people actually give up at that step of, getting their cage code. And I understand why. I can understand why, because if you miss any little thing on maybe your LLC, for example, for us, it was our letters of incorporation didn't have the unit number for our business, right? But on sam.gov, we applied with a unit number. So when it went to DLA or the department that gives you the cage code, they were like, "Nah, this doesn't match."
Man, what's up? And let me touch on that for a few seconds, because that is probably like 30% of the complaints that I hear people say is, I've been waiting on my cage code. Now, if you've been waiting on your cage code for longer than 30 days, then you missed the email. And they only give you 72 hours to respond to whatever they're telling you. So the cage, like you said, people give up on that because they're like, I never received the email for my cage code. You missed the email for one, or you did something wrong, or you didn't even get to that step and you thought you got to that step. So you guys were like, we don't even care about the cage code. We're gonna try to submit this bid.
And I was calling the Department of Labor. I remember I called at 9 p.m. one day and somebody picked up. It was for the cage code. I was really we kept getting denied. Wow. Had to amend the LLC, and then come back, and we actually finally got it, but I was relentless. Like, I was sitting on the phone calling them people, we're gonna get this cage code and we're gonna get this submitted. And that same day that I called, literally I called an hour before the proposal that we're working on was due, and within like 15 minutes later we got the cage code. And we're able to
see, that's how you gotta be. You're like, I don't care, I'm still gonna try. That's literally how you have to be.
And this was in May. This year,
2024.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So we got our cage code May 14th.
And some people been waiting since 2020. I mean, no shade, but I'm saying, like, you're saying this is what I want, and all I got to do is call someone and they're gonna fix it. Like, what's up? That's the way it's supposed to be. And so Zoe says, stay relentless. Thank you so much for the super chat, Zoe. I think it's Zoe. I appreciate that, because that's literally how you have to be, right? Appreciate the super chat. Okay, so so it's May right now. It's September. Dang. So it's only a couple of months.
Yes.
So since then, what had happened? Did y'all win that one? I know it's like, where do we start? But did you all win that one that you submitted?
No, we didn't. Okay. So that one was a janitorial one.
Oh, look. Amen. Yeah. No, I'm glad you didn't get it.
We were consuming a lot of the content from, a lot of the people that produce content on YouTube about GovCon, and we started hearing about janitorial. So that was the first one we actually put in, and that was in May. And so we didn't end up putting in another bid until maybe June, the end of June, like the last June 28th. We put my partner, actually, she found a product, and she put it all together, submitted it. 2 weeks later, we got that one. So literally on our second.
Back up. So this was on Sam?
This was on Sam. Yep.
Can you share what the product was?
Yes, it was electronic pool cleaners for the Navy. Yep, for the Navy.
Who? Electronic what?
So the big old things that you use to clean a pool.
Oh.
Yes. So they needed
electronic pool cleaner.
Electronic.
The Navy needed.
Yes, and it was a base in like Virginia. It was a base in Virginia. So
wow,
it was really simple. And I hope my partner, I know she's on here, I hope you don't mind me sharing the numbers, but
it's public knowledge anyway, partner.
It's public knowledge.
Knowledge, partner.
They could find it on HireGov if they went to HireGov. But anyway, so with that one, I think what she did was, she found the solicitation, and she did the work to find the vendor. So she messaged a couple people, and we got one vendor who kind of identified the product for us, because some of these things you don't even know what they are, right? Like I said, electronic pool cleaners. You're like, what is that? And I know you have every Wednesday you share a
weird contract. I was just about to say that got to be on there. I gotta put that on there. Weird contract Wednesdays. We absolutely have to put electronic pool cleaners on there.
Yes, I mean, if you think about it, it's not too off brand for the Navy. But yes, it definitely was one of those ones that we didn't even know what to start looking for. But she reached out to a vendor, super cool guy, and he was able to. He delayed in giving us the quote, and what actually happened with that too. And I'm just telling the story about to kind of buttress the point of being relentless, right?
Oh, please.
On the actual day of us to submit, so backtrack, maybe a week after she found the contract and she was working on it, trying to put things together, she told me to call the soliciting officer to ask a question. And I forgot what the question even was, but I picked up the phone, called the soliciting officer, and she was like, "Oh, you're interested in bidding?" I was like, "Yep, we're gonna put in the bid. Just had this question real quick." Asked her the question, she gave me an answer. So
Wow.
the day that the bid is due, again, we everything we do is kind of like last minute at this point. On the day that the solicitation is due, we haven't gotten a quote back from our vendor or the vendor that we're trying to purchase this product from. And I get a call from the soliciting officer, literally an hour, maybe an hour, not even an hour. I think it was probably like 30, 45 minutes before it was due.
Ooh, that's when you start sweating. That
She
time
calls
period.
me. She says, "Hey, I haven't seen your bid come through. Are you still planning on submitting a bid?" I was like, "Oh, well, we having issues with our vendors, so we'll probably pass on this one, maybe the next one." But I was like, it's got to be a reason why she called. So I hit my partner up. I'm like, "Yo, we got to get that vendor on the phone. We got to get that quote." So he ended up producing the quote for us that in within that short time period. And then we submitted it 15 minutes before it was due.
Okay, so there's so much to unpack there. All
Yes.
right.
Yep.
So for one, the reason why you even got first of all, the fact that she answered a question during the solicitation period is one thing, because that's
Mhm.
like not normal. And I
Right.
will say, I always tell my people, yeah, you may not be able to do that, but you just pretty much debunk that. You're saying it don't matter. I'm gonna try. If they don't answer, they don't answer it. So
Yeah.
the fact that she did that lets me know several things. There probably wasn't a lot of people going after it.
Yeah.
Two, she cares. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then you were like not afraid. So you not being afraid and intimidated speaks volumes for the future trajectory of your business. Boom. So
Absolutely.
then, like right before, like the vendor flaked, and I hear that all the time. But you made him not flake. You're
Yep.
like, hey, I need you to give me, if you want to make this money with the government, and I'm assuming maybe they don't even do business with the government at
Mm-mm.
that time. So this is going to be changing, life changing for the vendor as well. And so you guys said, hey, dude, you need to do this because this is going to make you some money, make us some money, everybody happy. We're doing all the logistics, project management, like you said.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, magically, he has time in his day in the
Yep.
next couple of minutes.
Literally.
And this was your second bid that you
Yep.
did.
Second one. First product one, second overall.
And then you won.
And then we won it. We
Can we
got
get a chance?
you know what's
Yes.
funny? When we won it, it was so like 2 weeks after that, we kept getting calls from the soliciting officer just asking for little things like, "Hey, can you make sure you add this NAICS code on your SAM?" And, "Hey, can you make sure you do this? Hey, can you email us and let us know that you can have the product delivered by this date?" So she was like really she was
She
pretty much
cared.
letting us know that we got it without the official document. So yeah, one day we woke up and we had the order, but it was very plain. It didn't say congratulations. It didn't
They're like,
say
here, give me
yeah,
my shit. That's
it
what
was
they said.
literally, it was like, "Hey, here it is." Me and my partner, we were like looking at each other like, "Yo, did we just win? Did we win?" It probably took 2 to 3 hours for us to actually realize that we won. I was calling her. I was like, "Hey, no, I think we won because here it says this."
That is
So
that's beautiful though. I love
yeah,
that because like it's another day in the office for them, and we got to remember this is just a people business. So we need to give him
absolutely.
a kudos or congratulations, all of that in these comments. If you on, there's a lot of people on here. Hit like and make sure you say congratulations to my boy because what second bid, and he
Second bid.
didn't even get deterred by the first one. There's some people who won't even put in a bid because they're afraid, and he didn't win the first one. Was like, I don't know what pool cleaners are, but YOLO, let's do it. So
Yeah.
congrats to
Thank you.
him. Drop it in the comments, okay? Boom.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to go back real quick.
Let's go.
So, and this is going to combine maybe like lessons learned over time, but you had to deal with it in that with the product contract.
Mhm.
How do you combat the vendors? Like, how do you make them accountable? Do you do something different? You had to take a breath. Do you do something different now to make sure that they don't have you waiting until 20 minutes before the thing is due?
I call as much as I need to call. I call to the point where I feel like, dang, I'm being annoying. Oh, it's time to call again. And that's the only way you can actually get something done that I've seen, because at the end of the day, they're on their timeline as well, and you're on yours, right? So it's only important to whoever the responsibility falls on, right? So
Mm,
they're not delivering to the government. I am, right? And I take that very, very, strongly. I can't be late. I can't miscommunicate. I don't have time to, do
yeah.
any of those things that could jeopardize the profit or the company's reputation or anything like that. So with the vendors, you just have to remember, like, this is your business. And even some of the transferable skills from real estate, it's like, you got a deal that you're about to make 20, 30,000 on. Do you mean to tell me you're just going to sit around and just wait around for everything to happen? Or are you going to make sure that it's going to close on time? Or are you going to make sure your seller is going to, show up and stuff like that? It's the same thing with these vendors. They don't necessarily feel the pressure of working with the government, especially as a newbie, right? As a new person, the first contract, it was like we had to deliver those pool cleaners like 5 days after. And I think it was
Woo!
just because they probably messed up their own timeline, and they were trying to, rush us to
Right.
to
They
pull
do
out the
that.
impossible, right?
Right.
So while I was on my vendor, I was like, hey, we need this by Monday. We won that thing on a Friday, and I was telling him we need this product shipped by Monday or delivered by Monday, because shipping and delivered is two different things.
Yes, Lord.
He's like, I'm gonna try. Monday came, he hit me up. He's like, it's not possible. We can probably do end of the week, but Monday's not possible. And at that point, it just becomes you understanding that it really is a communication and relationship business, because now I have to go back and relay that information to the government. And I can't
Right.
do it in such a way where it makes me seem like I'm new. Because if I'm like,
Right.
hey, we can't ship it because our vendor, no, I'm the vendor to the government. I can't be talking
Say it
about
again. Say it again. Say it again. It's up to.
it's you know what I'm saying, it's up to you. So in talking to
Woo!
them, it's more so, hey, we cannot meet this deadline because we're experiencing shipping delays. It's not, hey, my vendor is experiencing, or hey, we're not able to do this because of X, Y, and Z. That has to do with somebody else. No, you got to take that and you got to communicate that to them from your standpoint. And at that point,
Boy,
you're really in the driver's seat.
I so I don't want to get on my soapbox or my rant, but I just gotta highlight that because okay, it's okay. You didn't know the vendor. Y'all weren't
Yeah.
friends before,
Yeah.
but you still treated him like, look, you need to do this because my company is on the line, right? You made sure you communicated with him, you communicated with the government, because some of us have this ideal that all we got to do is let the vendor take care of everything, let the sub take care of everything, and then we just sign invoices.
Nah.
That ain't it.
Nah.
That ain't it.
Nah.
Even if you don't know I always say know the vendor first, but that's okay. It's not always possible. But if you don't know them, they're gonna be treated like they're your employee, or they're gonna be treated like somebody that works for your company, because essentially they do.
Absolutely.
Boy,
Literally.
you about to make me
True.
get up and start shouting.
so,
Woo! Okay,
so
so tell us more about. Go ahead.
so more about that first one, right? So the realization started coming in quickly, because after we won it, I think that's like getting a property under contract, right? The work actually starts there. You know what I'm saying? Now you have to fulfill it, you have to execute it, you have to make sure that everything goes according to plan. So in doing that, we're discovering a lot of different things, like what a net 30 is, and down payments and
He's like, wait a
negotiations
minute,
and
what is
stuff
this
like
stuff?
that. I'm like, hold on. You know, like we called the vendor, so numbers, right? The products probably totaled up to like $28,000. And
Mm,
so our profit was going to be 6K. Um,
I like it.
so we added 6K on top of the 28,000.
How
So
did you know to do that?
my partner just got the magic touch. She's just
Did she
amazing
just fill
at
a number
numbers.
out?
She
She was
just
just
pulled some
like,
numbers. Yeah, no, the first one I was very hands off. I literally just sat back, watched her be amazing. As I have the pleasure and privilege to do often, just watched her be amazing at just figuring out things and putting things together. And just delivering, this win to us for us on a silver platter. But I think she studied a lot of videos, and she was hearing, percentages being thrown out like, oh, 30% or 20% or stuff like that, right? There's people that share that kind of information, but it's not a universal, like, hey, every single one do a 20-30% increase. So I think from her knowledge and her research, she did try to undercut what she was hearing, just because if she's hearing that, most likely other people are hearing that. So I think she tried to do a little bit below, and she came up with that number. And it was the perfect number. Of course, when you win it, you start having thoughts of, dang, what if I
like in War Dogs.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it was a win, and it was a win that didn't take too much effort. But
$6,000 for basically just making sure somebody doing what they're supposed to do. I'll take it. What? Especially when you can do multiple contracts at once, and this is your first executed, and you just got your darn cage code like a month earlier.
Yeah,
that's a win to me.
It was very, in wholesaling, I've made more money, and it's been like exciting, but this excitement was a little bit different, because it was like, okay, proof of concept, number one, and number two, like, we are actually selling to the government. This is crazy. We're doing business with the government. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than that. They got the most money to spend. They have the most employees. They have the most needs. So it's like, if we can, getting that proof of concept in that one area was huge, because it's like, it can be repeatable and it can be done over and over and over again if you have the right strategy and the right mentality.
Okay, so I got a few questions about this. Hold on, before you move on. So as far as, or unless you were going to get into it, about how you actually were able to get the product.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into.
Go ahead. I knew it. I felt it.
So as soon as we won, we started trying to figure out, what we had to do in order to get this process moving and this product moving as well. So I called the vendor. His name was Dan, super great guy. I called him, and I'm asking him like, hey, can you do a net 30? And he's like, sure. So he puts together the invoice or whatever, and he bills it to the government. But I tell him, no, you bill it to me. I'm gonna bill the government. Right. So that changed everything.
Work for the government, Dan.
You know what I'm saying? But that changed everything, because he's like, oh, I'm billing you. Net 30 is not gonna work no more. I was like, what you mean, Dan? He was like, well, I pretty much, he needed some collateral, right? And I understood it, because it's like, now he's billing us, and it's different when you're billing the government, and so I understood where he was coming from. So he wanted 50% down, which was going to be about 15 grand or so. And then he could do the rest on a net 30. But my negotiation skills from wholesaling kicked in. I was like, okay, we could do 25% down and net 30. How about that? Of course, we battled a little bit, but he eventually agreed to the 25% down. So we put down 7,000 that same day to get the process rolling.
Wow. Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, where did this money come from? Was this like savings? Is the Lord have mercy mattress fund? What was this money?
This was from the savings. This was from the savings. Yep.
So to go into that really, really quickly, when people ask, do you need money to start? Maybe. If the guy hadn't have been, he wasn't being a jerk, but if he had have been different, you could have not had any money to put up front. Right. But in this case, it's good that you did, because otherwise, who knows how that contract would have gone. So I'm assuming you negotiated the dollar amount after you guys already won.
Yes. Yep.
It was after. So it was like, yo, we got to make something shape.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But I think even to that, right, when I left the negotiation table, I was like, I probably could have gotten him lower, because we built so much rapport that I could tell that he wanted to work with me, and he believed that I would do right by him. And I think just for me being new also, I didn't know like the right protocol or like the right things to say to get him lower. So I honestly believe I could have gotten away with putting down, 10%, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. He just needed something to assure him that, we wouldn't just get paid by the government and then not pay him. Because at this point, me and him, we didn't have any paperwork, no true contract or anything like that. It was just, hey, here's the invoice. And I'm like, okay, let's move forward. So I understood it from his perspective. But I think that with strong negotiation skills and just being able to kind of make your case in a very, humble and articulate way, and also not back down as well. You got to be a shark in some aspects, but you also know when to be, just chill and say, okay, cool, you got it. And but I think, you need money. You need money. I'm not gonna lie, whether it's credit, somebody else's money, you need some kind of money is what I've gotten to realize about this business.
No, I would agree with that. And then even still, like, I mean, I know you probably didn't want to have to dip into that savings, but when they say people pay, when you pay, people pay attention. So he was like, well, he gave me 7,000. I know he's not willing to walk away from that. You might walk away from 2 grand if you were trying to shuck and jive, but 7,000, that's enough to make him say, oh, okay, we good, without any further questions, really. Because let's say the government paid you late. Because we're hoping that the government pays us on time and that we completed all the documentation and everything for the government to pay us, because just because you won and you registered in SAM doesn't mean everything is right.
That's true.
Somebody could be on vacation during accounts in accounts payable, and guess what? You're not getting paid. Like that's just the way it is.
That's true.
I would say if you do have an opportunity, because I like to just get more money back. It just sounds, I know it's a weird thing, but if you do have to pay a good amount of money, at least you know that the person that you're working with will probably have a little more trust in you. You know what I mean?
They move more urgently as well. Like when you've put down money, also you call them, you say, hey, I need this. They're obligated to do it at that point.
Definitely so. So I'm going to go to a little bit of these comments because y'all are showing out and I sure appreciate it. Joy is all up in here. Joy, hey Joy. So Trevor Reese said gems. And then I'm gonna share this. I ain't gonna read it out loud, but I'm saying this is what the world is saying. So I ain't say it. And then relationships are definitely critical. You gotta nurture them. Shout out to my sister Sophia. Thank you for showing up. And I think you answered Ivan's question. And I'm just gonna touch on this really, really quickly. So it kind of you touched on saying it depends. As far as percentage, like I've had contracts where it was 40% profit. I had some where it was like 0.01% profit. Like we basically were breaking even, and then we just let that one go. That's not ideal, of course that's not ideal. But I started pre-COVID, so when you're locked into this contract and they don't want to do an equitable adjustment, you're like, I'm just ready for this thing to ride out. Shonda said, wow, congrats, shout out to partnerships. We gotta get you. Is she on? Tell her to come on. I can add her if you send her the link.
Hold on, let me.
I can add her if you send her the link. She'll pop right up on the screen.
Let me see. I'm gonna text her.
Yeah, see if she has time to pop in, if she camera ready. So Zoe said we got to pay to play. That is true. Chef B, hello Sheena. Gems are always filled with crown governor. Where you getting this word governors? Is that someone else's word? Because I think Chef B says that on every live. And then Constant Watson said, couldn't you just got the invoice as is? I'm not sure. Do you know what that means?
No.
I'm not. If you can, Constant Watson, if you can rephrase that sentence, because I'm not sure exactly what you mean. All right, so that contract for the pool cleaning things. You made 6,000 on it out the gate. So now you negotiated with the vendor. You talked to the government, said it's going to be a little late. They said, okay, no problem. Give us a date. And so now you ran that by your guy and y'all were able to deliver.
Yep, we delivered it that Friday. I think that week was, that excitement and that hunger came in. So I think that week I put in like 3 new bids.
You went from 1 a month to 3 a week.
Right. And I, at that time too, I had gotten a virtual assistant and I was working with her, training her. And I think, that week that we won that contract, it was a lot of things happened, right? Number one, the proof of concept happened. Number two, the seriousness happened. Whereas like I took it seriously because I'm like, it works. I see people and they're doing good. They're making it happen and whatnot. But for me, I still didn't understand all the things that my partner did to get that win for that first contract. I didn't even know how to navigate through SAM and any of that. So I got the VA. She was actually working for me in my real estate business. So I kind of repurposed her and retrained her. And so part of me training her was also me learning, because as I'm learning, she's watching me. So we, every day at that point, we were on Facebook Messenger, on a call for an hour and a half every single day, just looking at things, learning things, putting together folders for her, and just kind of really learning how to be a government contractor. And so now I tasked her with finding opportunities that we will be interested in and essentially would bid on. So she then started doing that, and it alleviated me from going on sam.gov and looking, because I was getting headaches reading those RFQs. It was a lot. So doing that kind of enabled me to create a system to where I'm just receiving interested bids, things that we might be interested in. And now it's just my job to put it together with her and then send them. And so that week, she probably produced like 10 in our pipeline that we were going after. And out of those 10, I was able to do 3 of them. And then one of those 3 was our second win.
Okay, before we get to the second win, good Lord. Okay, so that was one of the other reasons why I was just so impressed by your story, because you talk about your virtual assistant. And so
Yeah.
that's also a question that a lot of people have, is like, who to hire, how do I train them, blah, blah, blah. And look, Dylan already said, how do you find your virtual assistant? So with that, is she overseas, for one? And then I guess the second question would be, before we get into other stuff, is how do you know she's worth the money? Like, I know overseas the virtual assistants usually are very, very cheap.
Yeah.
I know you started making some money, so it's like, okay, cool. And you was making money on doing wholesaling, but were you like limiting your hours with her? Were you like, yeah?
Yeah. So yes, she's from the Philippines. And she was working for me before in real estate, and as I was downsizing and dissolving, I kind of just decided to repurpose her. So I trained her from scratch. She didn't know any government contracting experience.
You got it from Fiverr?
No,
Or
Facebook. So there's a group, a Facebook group called Riva. It's called REVA, Real Estate Virtual Assistants. So that's where, yeah. So that answers the questions. Where did I find my virtual assistant? But that group is predominantly, real estate virtual assistants. But you got so many people looking for work that they'll do any job, any assistant job that you have available. So that's where I found all my VAs in my entire time of doing business, and they're usually really good. They're usually really good, and they're also only as good as you are, because you have to continue to train them. And I remember I watched a video of yours, and you were speaking on how you had to give your virtual assistant like a lot of work so that they don't keep coming to you and asking you, hey, what do I do today? What do I do today? That's a real thing.
It's work giving them work.
It's absolutely work giving them work. And it's a real thing.
So yeah, go ahead.
So finding them and training them and figuring out how many hours to work, it was kind of a learning process, because I think I started her off as just salaried, because I didn't know how to track what she was doing on an hourly basis, right? Because we would also meet for an hour and a half a day and go through all these different things, and then I give her tasks to do at the end of the day. So started her off salary. She's still salary to this day, but it's pretty much, now we have a good understanding of what it takes, how much work she's doing, and the results that we're getting. So that's how I got my VA.
No, I love that, because again, if you're in the thick of it, and you guys were still kind of early, but you're in the thick of it because you got excited, and so there's always more work to do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to hiring anyone that's going to be doing tasks for you, admin, virtual assistant, whatever, they have to know the steps. And so one of the things that you mentioned before was you like started creating SOPs based on you training her, but you had to take that time to say, okay, I have to focus on training my employee, because they're going to be like, okay, I sent the email, what next? I did this, and what next? And so really being an effective leader in general is the process of setting up things. So if you get rid of her and you hire somebody internally, or even for yourself, you're supposed to just be able to hand them and they have no questions.
Right.
right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people also, you know, with a virtual assistant or having somebody who's constantly working while you're not, it gives you that feeling that you have to keep doing more. I think
Yeah.
sometimes what happens is, you know, you trying to do it yourself and get the proof of concept yourself. And I think I hired the virtual assistant before we even won that first one. So just because I all the other things that I was doing in my life, I was like, I can't dedicate enough time to this. And
Mm,
I just wasn't able to, you know, do it as much as I would like to. So hiring that virtual assistant gave me that push that I needed and also alleviated a lot of those mundane tasks that I didn't want to do. Now she does them and she's good at doing what I train her to do. Now she
right.
can't do anything more, but whatever I've trained her to do, I know that she's good at that, you know. And I just
Love it.
got confirmation. My partner says she's willing to join. Um,
Okay, yeah, come on, partner. Look, this is totally off script, y'all. Totally off script. So when she pops in, then I'll be able to add her to the stage. Okay.
okay, so just send her this link.
Yep. Send her the link
Okay,
that you had, and then she can pop on in. I love
okay.
that. Yay! I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay. So for one, why did you switch from services to products? I know you said you switched from janitorial. That's the
Yes.
whole. Well, why specifically services to products?
So it made sense to me, especially once we won that first one. It made sense to me because it felt like drop shipping, right? And it felt
Mm,
like it was like, oh, okay, this is an easier way to drop ship. It's like just in time inventory. You don't have anything in your you know warehouse or in your possession, but when you buy something, you own it at that point. It doesn't have to reach you, right? And that was something that I learned from afar that I read. I can't remember which one it was, but I was just looking up like, is is um is e-commerce considered you know, is that can you do e-commerce as a government contractor? Is that a business type that you can claim and be successful, right? And when I read that, it was like, yeah, there was actually a case to where someone had tried to appeal someone's win off the basis that the person didn't receive the product. And so the response to that, or the resolution to that far, was the person doesn't have to physically take possession of the product for them to be the owner. They just have to have some kind of quote unquote equitable interest, right? So so
y'all, he learning y'all something. Come
from that
on.
it made sense. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's kind of, and me, my partner, she'll tell you she's all about the services. She wants to keep doing services. At one
No.
point, we even divided it. We even divided. I was like, all right, you do the services, I do the products. But
Wow. Okay. So welcome, Zoe. So you were the one dropping all that knowledge up in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. I didn't heard so much about you. I feel like we already friends.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. Like I said, this is totally off script, y'all. I did not know we were going to do this. So we rolling with it. But it seems like you're the mastermind of all of this. So we got to kind of go back. We want to know how you got that number. How did you get the number for the pool things?
So I was looking at mostly 15% for the first one. The total wasn't that expensive. So I didn't want to hit them with like a 30%, knowing that the product wasn't that expensive. And it was our first one. He's all with the big, large profits, but I think you can find a balance between both and kind of win as the underdog. So that's why I took that number.
Thank you for saying that, because Lord, it's like everyone wants to get millions of dollars in contracts. They want to get 100% profit, 200% profit. I'm like, you don't even know how to run nothing. Let me stop. I don't want to start doing what I do. But look, thank you for saying that, because even in War Dogs, they're like, look, those crumbs add up, and $6,000, that's more than a lot of people make in a months and a half, even a quarter. And you guys, that's straight profit minus a couple of little things, because you guys don't have a brick and mortar, right? You don't have a whole lot of overhead. That's beautiful, especially when you could do multiple contracts at the same time. So I don't know why people be trying to, not you, Free, but everybody trying to get $40 million contract their first day out the SAM.gov. It's like, no, that's not how it works, and that's gonna be $40 million worth of stress too.
right, yep.
It might match, but you don't want to have a head full of white hair after getting this contract. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So okay,
Yeah.
boom. So moving on to now, you guys got this contract. Now you hungry. It's like, oh yes, this can be done. We made a profit, which a lot of people don't even make a profit on their first contract. So now it's what, July?
Yes.
Right. So now you found the second one, the second contract on which platform for what item?
Okay, so that was on Unison.
Woo, now we talking about Unison, y'all. Ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
Now
Okay.
again,
So how did you even find what Unison was? Like, what? How did that work?
so the opportunity, our VA actually found it off of SAM, but then it was routed to Unison. You couldn't bid on it like traditionally, and so then I created a Unison account and I started, browsing it and looking at it and seeing what it was about and stuff like that. And it was just very different. It different in a good way, because I think it's more intuitive in terms of, hey, you're submitting your proposal here on this platform. Like I wish Sam had something where you could just submit your proposal or your quote on the actual platform rather than having to email it or
True.
however, I feel like that's a little bit ancient, having to do it that way.
I didn't quite think of it like that because we do a lot of local and usually it is through their portal.
Yeah.
But Sam really is submitted via email. I don't know why that never fully registered.
Yeah.
Okay, so Unison is submitted through the portal because it's kind of like, and do you know how Unison works, right? You know what it actually is.
Yeah.
Okay, share that too when you get, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I got you. So Unison, one thing I really like about Unison is that they kind of recommend opportunities that match whatever you've been searching for. So it kind of has this built-in function that tells you and gives you like, hey, these are a couple of things that you may be interested in terms of opportunities. And I'm the type of person that, like, if I want to bid on one that's ending Wednesday and we have Monday, I want to get it fast. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to wait.
Like, I don't operate like that. I feel you. Me and Zoe on the same page because that's stress. But I guess if you can get it done,
absolutely
then get it done. But
yes.
That's stress.
Yeah. So the one that we ended up winning was exactly like that. It was for 6 units, 3 washers and 3 dryers, and they were due probably like Friday. I started working on it on Tuesday, and it was due by Friday.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Unison has really short. Yeah, Unison has really short deadlines too, depending on how you filter stuff. They could be due a couple of days, next week, but I haven't really seen one that's like 2-3 weeks out. It's usually very close.
My understanding, real quick, about Unison is stuff gets put on there if it's either it hasn't been successful on another, like in SAM, or it's something that needs to be done really, really quickly. That's kind of like it's like a back auction type thing, because we talked about it. That's right. That it's a third party that also you have to pay to play a little bit.
Absolutely.
So it's like the government is like, hey, Unison, we need your help.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, it's all coming together, y'all. I'm gonna be an expert at the end of this call. Okay, so go ahead.
And you bid directly on Unison. So some features that Unison has is it has this feature where it auto bids for you, right? So it tells you, it can show you that if your bid is in the lead in terms of just price wise, not necessarily compliance or accuracy or anything like that, just price wise, it shows you if you're in the lead or if you're lagging or where you fall in that whole bidding spectrum. So the auto bid feature, you get to set your price, right? For example, if I'm bidding on something that's $10,000 and or my bid to that particular opportunity is $10,000, it gives you an option to set a floor, right? So it will auto rebid for you until it hits your floor. So if my floor is 5,000 and somebody else bids at 7,000, it's going to drop it below that 7 so that I can be competitive until it reaches that floor, and it wouldn't go any lower after that.
It's like eBay.
Yeah. Actually, yes. Yep.
And look, I haven't been on eBay in a long time. Okay, so you find an opportunity on Unison. You're like, this is fantastic. I'm going to start with $10,000, And then if nobody else goes after that opportunity within that time period, you automatically are awarded.
Not quite, right? Because
Okay.
there's so even if you're in the lead, it's your bid still has to match the requirements, right? So you just being in the lead doesn't tell you if the government has reviewed your quote and they think that your quote is a good fit for them, right? Because they'll ask for some FAR clauses that you need to have on your reps and certs and different things like that. So if you aren't compliant on that end, I don't imagine that you would just win just based off of having, a low price. They say low price or technically acceptable. Yeah. So I think that second part goes to the soliciting officer to verify that it is technically acceptable. And then you win, because I was still, even when it hit our floor, we were still not in the lead, and we still ended up winning it.
Okay, so it still follows lowest price technically acceptable. Is like when you put your bid in, let's say like you said, your floor, meaning the lowest price you're willing to go is $5,000. So then it closes, the opportunity closes, right? It ends, and then you're just waiting to get an award the same way you would be waiting any other time. I thought as soon as they would hit the number, they like, okay, here go the PO. Okay, so it works. So it is okay. That's easier for me to understand than it to be so different from like regular submitting. So it still has to go through the compliance part. It's just now they can see the price a little easier. It's like it's right there front and center.
Yeah.
Are you also able to see, like, if you did 10,000 and then somebody else was going lower, are you able to see that your number is going lower? Like, oh, how do you know, or you don't know?
Yeah, you can see your number decrease.
You're like, oh no, it's going down.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. And when I put our bid in, I would say that was probably my first bid that I put in myself. So yeah.
So we stayed back. Zoe's like, I want nothing to do with it.
They put the floor price that he put, but then they also added their own money on the top. So I was like, so do they push your price to the floor so that they could add their middleman fee? So where's like 2 middlemans for one contract. So I don't know how I feel about Unison.
So Unison, that's right. So you were saying that Unison is a third party commercial website. So what do they charge you? Like, how do you know what they charge?
They hit us with the 2,500.
So it's 2,500 no matter what, even if it's like a $50,000 contract?
I have no clue. Ours was a little bit higher than that, but that's what they did. Yeah.
Okay. If someone
I don't know how they come up with the number. That's actually something I wrote down to really research and look after. Because with this second one that we won, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster.
That's like, because when I talked to you, it was all Gucci.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get into that. Before we get into that, let me go. You said it with a sigh, so we're gonna send you some prayer, because I already know that with each contract comes different, different things.
Yeah.
So Dylan said, major key, thank you. And of course, Ivan, let's go products. He's been product shorty all this time.
Come on.
Yeah, make sure y'all hit like. Joy said hit like, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Best guess. Yes, I appreciate y'all. They're giving y'all a lot of love. I'm loving it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, Unison Marketplace. All right. So one of the questions is it mostly military agencies on Unison? Is it all government?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
I think it's all federal. It's all federal government, right?
Yeah.
Not just military.
Yeah.
So it's like Sam. It's like Sam's little cousin, Sam.gov's little cousin or something.
Yeah.
So Ivan asked, question pertaining to Unison: how do you avoid not running into other vendors who either make or carry what you need or don't want to give you a bid because they're bidding themselves? Have you run into that?
Yeah. I can avoid it.
So you can't?
I don't think you can avoid it, because people have turned us down. I've emailed people and they've called me back, left a message. I will call back just for them to say, oh yeah, I'm not giving you a bid because I'm bidding on it. It's like, oh, okay. Well, why did you tell me to call you back? But I don't think
out of their way.
I think you just have to reaching out to other vendors.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I know that's been a question for Ivan a few times. Is like, how do you get around that? And same thing with, in any industry, I guess. But I think what makes it a little harder is those specialty products. So there's not going to, if it's something that only a few people sell,
Yeah.
you're going to have to start selling T-shirts or something. I don't know. Somewhere a lot of people carry them, I guess.
Yeah. And
I don't
also,
know.
I kind of adopted the mentality that, there's always going to be people who wholesale to the government, right? Meaning, when you resell, you want to resell at the highest, best price and amount that you can get. But when you wholesale, you're typically getting it for less, right? So
Yeah.
the concept, or how I kind of internalized that, was, okay, if I'm here, I'm a reseller, because I'm not getting these products at a discount. I'm getting the market price from the vendor, and then I'm charging extra. So I'm
Yeah.
really like taxing, if we're
Yeah.
being honest. But then there's gonna be companies and people who have excess products, who have relationships with other vendors that get it at a discount. So you can't go in there thinking, oh, I did 15% increase, why didn't I win? Well, this person, they're wholesaling it to the government, so their price is way less than you could ever get it for. So in situations like that, you just move on.
I would agree. And it's like, I know other people, especially when we were talking about DLA and stuff, and you're trying to get to the person that creates it, like the
Right.
person who's creating the nuts and bolts, like they got the steel machine. So that's probably the cheapest you could possibly get it. And like you said, by the time it gets to the government, it's already been like three numbers on top, because the person, they may have bought it wholesale, they're selling to retail, then they want to make a profit because they're selling it to the government. So they know the government got money, and then you add in, and on we go. So it does become a thing of, okay, you might win, but just know that you could probably lose more than you win when it comes to these type of things that is specialty products, or something where maybe it's even easily accessible. There's always like a pro and con with that. And I really want to get into those washers and dryers, because that was a fascinating story. I've been telling everybody that story. So definitely not automatically awarded. Sometimes they will repost the opportunity. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm. I haven't seen an opportunity reposted yet, but I don't doubt it, because I have seen ones that were posted, maybe May of this year, and then it's back on, so yeah. And you see that on Sam as well.
I was gonna say that's everywhere. That's a normal thing. And so CC Wood also said there's no flat fee, it's a percentage. What's the percentage? Tell us the percentage. Oh, here we go. I haven't got it. 3.9%.
9.
Like a credit card. Like a credit card. Okay, a few people said it. So Ivan said, I recently became a direct reseller for a few companies, knocks out the middleman, pertaining to the question I just asked, and I do DLA, and manufacturing is the goal. Yes, I love it. All right. So now talking about the washers and dryers. Let's go. Second contract. It's the next month. Barely.
Yep.
Okay.
August 6th. So to close out the first contract, so you got to follow up with everybody. We had delivered and fulfilled our obligation to the government July 19th. By July 29th, we hadn't heard anything back. I had already put in the invoice, right? And I think I put in the invoice a little bit before that, so that we can I put in the invoice before they even got the product, so we can get our money, on time. But no one was looking at it. The status on I think it made me do the invoice through WAWF.
Oh yeah, wait, yeah.
WAF.
Yeah. WAF. Yeah, that.
So I set up an account, and the status was just pending. It was just lingering. It said pending acceptance from the government. I'm like, man, they've had this product for 10 days now. What do you mean pending acceptance? So I called a WAF representative, and she helped me out. She was like, hey, yeah, you might want to call, whoever received it, and make sure that they go in there and do what they're supposed to do. So I called the guy. He went in there, did what he was supposed to do. Literally like 6-7 days later, we got paid. And so
if you didn't call, you would have been waiting still right now.
You would have been waiting for sure. So I contacted WAF, and they actually let me know that, sometimes the government will try to pay small businesses within 15 days, even though they still have 30 days to do it. So I was like, okay, that's a great piece of information to know. And that morning that we, I think, because I all of August, I was waking up at like 4:30 in the morning.
That's what I'm talking about. No excuses. That's right. 4 in the morning. Get y'all ass up. Okay, go ahead.
At 5:45, you know what I'm saying? Like I checked the bank account and we had like $34,000 in it.
You be like, who money is that?
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
that's what I'm talking about. I love that. I love
so
that.
we were excited. I had to wait a couple hours for Zoe to wake up to share the good news. No, she was actually up. She was
I
up.
wanna shoot that bed like, get up.
She
There's
was,
money out here. Yay, that's
no,
beautiful.
she was up. She was definitely matching my energy. She was up too. Definitely was up. Because we found out at the same time. So yeah, once we got that payment, you know, we contacted our vendor, made sure that he got paid first and foremost.
Right.
And literally at 11 a.m., I was making breakfast, cutting up an egg. I get a notification from a Gmail, and it was like, here's the executed blah 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 blah. I'm like, what is
On
this?
Gmail.
Yeah. So it was the second
Okay.
contract. That was the award that we had gotten, but it was a secured. They sent like a secured message or something like that,
Oh,
and I had
wow.
to go in there, and I saw the executed agreement, and she was like, "Hey, just confirm receipt, and we're looking forward to receiving those washers and dryers."
Was it a Sunday? Why was she sending from a Gmail? Like what agency was
No,
this?
no. We have a Gmail. She sent it from her
To
government
the Gmail.
to
Okay.
the Gmail. Yeah,
Okay,
not
so
from to the
let's
Gmail.
pause right there because
Yeah.
I be going in on people. Even when I have Bridget on and saying that you cannot win an award with a Gmail, you just debunked it. You just debunked it.
Yeah.
You just debunked it. Look, I'm
Yeah.
all for, you know what I'm saying, cost savings because we got to do what we got to do. And a lot of people will say you'll never ever win if they see a Gmail, but they just debunked it. So it ain't me saying it. It ain't
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Kudos. I love it.
We haven't had a problem yet. We haven't had a problem
He
yet.
said, "Ask about me." Okay,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
So once we got that, it was time to execute. And even getting this second one, the work that I had to kind of do to secure that bid from the vendor, I had a feeling that it was going to be tough to beat that amount of work. Because I had to call somebody who had to reroute me to somebody else, who had to reroute me to somebody else. I was going through phone numbers just like it was nothing. And I found after like the sixth phone number that I got from referral after referral after referral, I finally got the guy who gave us the quote. And you know, I remember telling Zoe, yeah, they said they've gotten 50 calls from people like us. and things like that, you know, is discouraging. But at the end of the day, when that's business, you know, you're not the only person in the world that wants to offer a service. So with
But
that,
something that we also heard was we're the kindest people that reached out. So I guess people are reaching out, sounding and talking crazy, asking for the prices. Because people have said that multiple times.
Yeah.
That's what I say is one of my differentiators. Even though it's not supposed to be different, respond to emails, pleasant, good customer service. It goes a long way.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So so the total amount for the drive. So on Unison, okay, back to Unison for a little bit. So when you know, I reread the requirements like 5 different times just to make sure that our quote had everything. And our quotes at the time weren't like a standard quote. It almost looked like a proposal, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Because we're doing like a document, and we're words, descriptions. Like it wasn't like a little chart that shows you one thing and then the price on the right side. Now we had like a little pamphlet for them.
Good, sure.
Right.
Because they didn't ask for anything specific, right? They just wanted the numbers and the info.
Absolutely. But they did want a specific product. It was a name brand product. And you know, put that together, submitted it. And I initially I had like $23,000 on top of what the vendor quoted us.
Okay.
And I put that on Unison, and my floor was at $14,000 profit. So
you said 20. How much?
23 was my initial, then my floor was at 14 profit.
Got it. Okay.
So we're talking like we're talking like high 80s in terms of contract amount, total contract amount.
Okay.
So Unison, immediately as I put that bid in, it dropped it to the floor. Literally, it didn't even do it incrementally. It just
too much. That's what it said. But you know what? I kind of like that though, because, well, for one, you still had a profit, right?
Right.
But then for two, it was kind of letting you know that you way out. So that's when people ask about price, that's a good little starter to like let you know that, okay, I'm way too high. Like I'm extra greedy right now. But you still had a good profit though. Okay,
Right.
continue. I like that.
Right. Yeah. So it knocked us down by 9,000. So, excuse me, when we actually won it, our profit was going to be 14. So the goal was to, ship these 3 washers and 3 dryers to Customs and Border Patrol, and we're supposed to do it within 30 days, right? So whole time, I'm communicating with the vendor. They want some money. They want some money, Sheena. I'm like, how much y'all want? They said we want 50%.
I ain't got nothing. That's what you gonna get out of me. Okay, go ahead.
They said we want 50% down now, and this was like the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, that was asking for this. So they wanted 50% down, and then 50%, the remainder of the 50% upon install.
Damn! So, they was stripping.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, had to get in there once again and really negotiate. I built a lot of rapport with the guy. Like I even talked to him this morning, but I talked to him and I was like, hey, we could do 25%. And what about the net 30? Because 50%, what I'm saying, that's a lot of money out the door. So he agreed to the 25%. So the 25% ended up being around 16,000 that we had to put down. So we secured that. Now
wait. Back up. Yeah, Zoe said, wait a minute. Go ahead, Zoe.
Basically, the money we won from the first award went right to our next award. So I think people need to be mindful of like how you manage your money while you're winning these awards. I just wanted to highlight that.
No, that's 1,000% accurate. This is not your money to go buy a Chanel bag. Well, you can't even get a Chanel bag. But like, that is not your money to go spend. That is your business's money. It does not belong to you. And like you said, like, what if you you put in 5 bids and you win all 5 in the same week? That's happened to me. And you're like, I don't know where this money's coming from. So, it goes right to the next thing until your business is healthy enough to have the money, elsewhere. So that money,
these credit, if you want to pay with these vendors, if you want to pay with a credit card, they're going to take that extra 3% fee too.
So now you just cut into your profit. But then that may be what you have to do, especially the first few. Having the access. That's what it is. Personal, like I know people will get mad at me when I say this, but personal credit is often a part of what you're doing, especially when you first start out. I don't give a damn. You're not going to go to nobody's bank saying, hey, guess what? I want a contract. Please give me money. They're going to slap that paper and slap you and kick you out the damn bank. So please understand that that's not how that works. And you cannot take a awarded contract for the most part to nobody, and just say, hey, give me money. They don't give a damn. You could have created that on ChatGPT.
Right. So, absolutely.
Just putting that out there. Okay. So now is this did we pass the part where you said that there was something fishy about the parts when we talked before? Or is this after?
This is before. At this point, nothing's even fishy right now. Nothing's fishy.
Nothing's fishy. Okay, go ahead.
Everything's cool. We got everything secured. Oh, the product that they originally asked for, like the exact serial number, that product the company doesn't manufacture anymore. So in my quote, I literally on the first paragraph of my quote said, "Hey, the product you asked for does not exist. It's not being produced anymore. If somebody offers it to you, it's not new. So this is the best alternative." So
wait, we got to expand that, because that I know that went over people's head. So you're saying that when you found this opportunity on Unison, they said we need these washers and dryers from 1937, and you're like, hey, they don't make these no more.
Yeah.
And if someone says they can get it for you, they lying.
Right.
Yeah. So you're saying now we're in 2024, damn near 100 years later, it's gonna be more expensive. It's an alternative.
Yeah.
Here's what you're gonna get, because the government don't even know. They probably had those washers and dryers since 1937. They had the poor soldiers slaving over getting them fixed. Let me stop. But like, that's the kind of thing, because I'm working for the federal government at some point, and I know they hold on to the last drop, and they'll get a soldier to go in there and tinker with it to get it to work for another year.
Yep.
So that's what you told them. You can't get that. Here's an alternative. That is huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yep. So at that point, we had everything sorted out with the vendor. Everything was going to get delivered in 30 days. And so um, this was supposed to happen on the 5th of this month, right?
September.
Yes. Yep. We wanted the 6th of August. 30 days was September 5th. So it was supposed to actually get delivered. And so, it took a lot of following up with the vendor, just making sure we were on track with everything. Just I wasn't calling them every single day at that point. It was just like, oh, you said you're
Every
you
other
said
day
you're
you go get this ring.
you
Okay,
know what
got
I'm saying? I was like, okay, you said you're gonna ship it on the 30th. Cool. We're gonna wait till the 30th, and then I'm gonna start reaching out then. So on the 30th of August was when I started actually reaching out, because that's when they said they were shipping it from their site and then delivered on the 5th. So the day, like the weekend before the 5th, because I believe the 5th was supposed to be,
I think a Monday.
yeah, the 5th
I
was
think
going to be a
the 7th
Thursday.
was, yeah, Labor Day. I think it was the 7th Monday, right?
Oh,
Is that
Labor Day
right?
was
That was the 5th was Thursday. The first
Thursday.
September.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. So we were supposed to get it delivered on the 5th of Thursday, but I told my vendor we needed it by the 3rd or the 4th, just to make sure everything was okay. That Tuesday, however, we get an email from the government asking us what parts. This wasn't the soliciting officer. This was somebody else who was going to receive it,
Gotcha.
asking
The
us
buyer.
what parts are they receiving, what machines are they receiving. I tell them, hey, this is what we offered, and this is what is getting delivered to you in 2 days. We get an email from our soliciting officer saying, hey, we ordered the wrong equipment.
What you mean?
The washers, we don't need the washers that you screw on the ground. They call those hard mounts. We don't need the hard mount washers. We need the soft mount washers that you don't have to bolt to the ground. And so it
So whose error was that?
There.
was their error. It was their error.
Already
Oh,
shipped
good to
out.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything was already shipped out. And so now I'm starting to panic, because I'm like, okay, are we gonna have to rebid? Like, what's gonna happen? Now I got to go back to the vendor and tell them that, hey, 2 days before delivery, that 3 of the washers are no good and we need those replaced. So now I start making calls, and man, it took a lot of just calling each party, calling the government, trying to convince them to keep the ones that are getting delivered, and they not knowing exactly what their requirements are. They didn't know why they needed whatever they were asking for. So I had to speak to different people in that facility, because a lot of the times the soliciting officer is actually not even in that state or in that realm of whatever they're soliciting for. So I'm talking to somebody in Indianapolis for a product that's getting shipped to Texas. So then I start getting people from Texas number, and I'm calling them and I'm asking them like, hey, why do you need the soft mounts instead of the hard mounts? They're like, because this is going in the trailer and you can't bolt this to a trailer unless it's going to shake the whole thing. So I go back to the vendor. The vendor is like, oh no, this is the right one. This is the perfect one. We sell these all the time. And I'm telling them like, no, they're not going to go for it, man. Just give me a new quote, please.
Please. Wow.
So
Wow.
I really am begging at this point for them to give us a new quote, because at this point they've halted everything. Like the delivery that was supposed to happen in 2 days, they stopped it. So now, I'm figuring out like what the requirements are. I'm talking to Zoe like, hey, what do we do? Like, we get an email from our vendor saying, hey, we can give you the soft mounts, but it's going to take about 90 days for those to get there.
What? Why? They're
So-
building them from scratch? They chopping down the damn, like how? Nothing should take 90 days unless it's coming from, even if it's coming from overseas.
And so this is coming from like the Czech Republic or something like that. So yeah, so these don't get manufactured or produced in the United States, because these don't sell out a lot, because this company, they sell to like hotels and stuff like that, and hotels, they usually need their stuff like bolted to the ground. They're not putting their laundry machines in the trailer. So I don't understand why, but he was like, it's going to take 90 days. So now I'm like, I'm starting to panic. Yeah. and the government is asking me like, how long is it going to take? The first time I didn't even know what to say, so I just told them 30 to 45 days, and then I found out it's 90 days. And so they're asking us like, oh, how much is it going to cost? Is it going to cost more or less for the units? I'm like, it's going to cost more.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be, what the hell y'all talking about? And y'all made the mistake? Oh no.
Right. So long story short, just calling a lot of different people, figuring things out, getting great advice from Zoe to not, because I'm like, all right, should we, because in real estate and wholesaling, we had this thing where if you got bad news, you wait to the last minute to deliver the bad news so that person, they ain't got no choice but to deal with it. So I'm calling somebody like, hey, you think I should wait until they send the amendment, the change order, and then tell them it's going to be 90 days? And she's like, why would you do that?
I'm just like, if it's bad news, let's just get the bad news out as soon as we can so we know what the next step is.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I just want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to have to wait because they can still say, F you, get out of here. And you guys already have your money tied up in this now.
Yep.
Right.
And you think you're going to get paid at least in 45 days. Now you're talking about half a year damn near.
Right.
So, wow. Okay. So they made the government made a mistake. So going back to your point about the solicitation, well, with the officer, the contracting officer doesn't usually know. You got buyers, and sometimes you have contract specialists, and then contract officers, contract officer representative. You got sometimes a lot of people in between. Yeah. So the buyer is supposed to essentially be more of an expert, the most what's the word I'm looking for? The most expert in this whole process.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times the information doesn't get to them because they're usually making a decision on the ground. Like, yes, that person seems like they know what they're talking about. Hire them to do the thing. But even still, obviously, they didn't even look at this original solicitation because they had the wrong damn washers and dryers.
Right. So that's the dryers was correct. The washers wasn't.
Yep. So that's a red flag too. But like you did a good thing by saying, no, this is not what you guys need. You need this because you're supposed to be the expert, right? Because you're selling the item.
Right.
But then it's even deeper than that because you didn't know where the hell they were putting them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So then it's like you got to know what questions to ask. Are you putting this inside of a building? Are you putting it inside of a mobile home? Or are you putting it inside of a trailer that doesn't have a foundation? That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we scratched our heads for a while trying to figure out like what to do, but it wasn't really much to do. And I'm thankful to have Zoe as a partner because she's very like just
I'm straight to the point.
She's straight to the point. I'm trying to like
avoid losing the contract, but I'm like, for some reason I don't think we're gonna lose it. Like if it's gonna take 90 days, I don't think anyone else is gonna get it sooner than us.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. I mean, whatever they're doing, like they didn't put emergency on there. It's not FEMA. So it's washers and dryers. It's not food. It's not water. So so that's a really good way to look at that. I like that. Yeah. I'm going to get to some of the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to get into some of the questions. And they love your energy, Zoe. Loving it. Okay. So Ivan asked, have you had repeat vendors, meaning you use the same vendor for another product?
We've used, for example, this washer dryer company that we're using, we've gotten quotes for them for other opportunities. Now those are still pending.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it if you can, unless you find something better, or, that relationship doesn't end up working out. Ivan also asked, are you staying within a certain zip code when it pertains to deliveries to keep your shipping costs low when you see a certain item in one state, but it needs to be shipped to a further distance?
We try to, but for this one, it was like certain vendors can only ship to certain states. That was my same question to Free over and over again with this one, because I was like, well, why can't we just get it from someone else? But they can only sell to certain states. So it depends on the vendor.
That's great information. That's something I wouldn't even think to ask. Like I wouldn't even know to say, you ship to Hawaii? Well, I would even say maybe Hawaii, but if you don't ship to South Dakota, but you ship to North Dakota, I would never think to ask that.
Exactly.
And so is it sorry. Can you offer the government? Can you just offer the government PO? I'm assuming you mean to the bank. No.
What does that mean?
Get money? I don't know if you mean to get money, but usually the answer is going to be no, especially if you don't have a relationship with. Most of us are starting a brand new business and getting into government contracting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a rapport with the bank, unless you, but I even know people who had a rapport with their bank, they started a new business doing something else, and the bank wasn't interested in that new business, even though they were already doing business with the bank, already getting loans. But this new thing is a startup, so they're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. Joyce said, yes, you got to reinvest into the business and you need serious money management, says Alexis. CC Wood said, we can't steal from our own company no matter how good the money looks in our account. Amen. Boy, when I had my first $400,000 month, I was like, oh, this is all my money. But no, it dwindled down quite quickly. But it looked good. It looked good for those few days that it was in there, okay?
It sure does.
D'Amica White said, I've been hearing government contractors say they use a factoring service to fund their contracts. Any word on this strategy? I can speak to that, but you guys have any experience with factoring?
Nope.
So yes, factoring can be fantastic. They just charge kind of a premium. They charge usually 3 to 5% on your invoices. So what factoring is, just like what you guys right now, you're kind of waiting. It's only after the invoice period. So you guys technically wouldn't qualify because you can't technically send the invoice until you deliver the product or the service, right? Mm-hmm. So if you deliver the product or the service, you submit the invoice, then factoring companies will advance you usually 80% of that contract, that invoice amount. Just that invoice amount, because if you're doing services like I do, where it's like every month, then it's not going to be for the whole amount of the contract. It's just going to be for whatever time period that you invoice. So yes.
What's the benefit to doing that?
Get your money today instead of waiting the 30 days, but it's only 80%. So usually you would only, since they take, you don't have to invoice every single company that you work with or even every single invoice. But like if you have $50,000 invoices every month, then it could definitely be a benefit to keep the cash flow going instead of waiting. And then now with the factoring company, it's up to them to go get their money from the company, because even that can be a problem where they treating you like a little baby business, but then you insert the financial factoring company and they put more respect toward the factoring company than they do with you as far as payment. That makes sense?
That makes sense, yep.
So dropping gems, yes. I don't know if this is for us. This is, well, I'm just sharing this because Ivan put it out there. And Alexis said, this is a beautiful episode. I love it. Okay. So how do you, now that you guys got this going on, right? So you're still kind of waiting. So there's really nothing that you can do about this right now.
So we did get a conclusion. So we ended up figuring out or just brainstorming and figuring out, what are how can we make this advantageous for us, right? And the two ways is get more money and also getting some kind of money up front. So we from the government, not up front, but like, a little bit earlier than 90 days. So we made a proposition like, hey, these units are going to cost an extra $10,000 for everything, the delay and everything, whatever. And we also asked that if we ship the dryers, could we get paid for those first?
I love that.
Yes. And they agreed to those terms. And now they started saying, oh, well, in terms of the price increase, we may have to wait or to see if more funds are available. And, we may just purchase 2 now and then purchase the next one in November or something like that. So I was like, oh, man, here they go. So thankfully, that didn't happen. They came back to us with on Friday. They sent over the signed change order approving all our terms. So it bumped up our profit back to where it originally was supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the units that we're actually delivering to them, they're a little bit cheaper, but because now our vendors have to do like 2 installations and 2 separate deliveries, we're getting taxed on those twice. So it we would have made maybe closer to 30, honestly, but because of these little things, nuances that we have to deal with. We're sitting right at 20. But currently where we are with that process right now, the washers and dryers they're actually supposed to get delivered today. I'm sorry, the dryers were supposed to get delivered today. I've been calling the vendor, haven't had too much success with getting an update from them, but the dryers should definitely be getting there this week. Then we wait for the washers.
Yep.
Dang, y'all pivot. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's more than just, oh, I'm gonna bid on a contract and everything. I'm gonna live happily ever after. There's so many negotiations. Oh, did we lose you? Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Free?
No, I'm still here. 1 second.
Okay, no problem. So it's a lot of, as you can see, negotiation, a lot of last minute, a lot of pivots, a lot of learning lessons. And this one contract, because your first one went kind of breezy, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can do this every day. And then the second one was like, wow, just dropped it on you, where you're learning like so many things. Like, wow, the government makes mistakes. Yes, like I tell people, it's going to be longer than 30 days. Yes, the vendor can be flaky even in the midst of everything.
Yeah.
And then you got to go get something from across the world. Well, Czechoslovakia is not across the world, but like all the way across, the globe to get things. So it's like so many lessons in that. And I feel like that really prepares you for the next thing that you're going to be awarded. That's just how I look at it.
Absolutely.
And I love y'all's determination. Y'all are really, really serious.
Yeah.
Like really serious.
The excitement out, and it's just like, okay, we're running a business. Like,
right. You look up one day, you're like, okay, I'm really doing something for real. And then when you start hiring people and all that kind of stuff, it just makes everything so much more gooder. You know what I mean? So let's say with the second one, since that was like a little bit of a problem child, but it's better. It's in rehab, right? So what would you have done different, or what do you think you could have done differently in order to make that, work out better maybe?
I think that, because I have asked myself that question a couple times, and honestly, the only answer that I could think of is just be even more persistent. Because I can't even tell you how many times I've called my vendor and the government, but I think that one of the things that they were really relaxed on their end was providing new quotes for us, right? Because we needed new quotes in order to know exactly what our cost is going to be now and to finalize things, because they actually halted the whole delivery process until they produced new quotes, but they were dragging their feet on producing new quotes. So me being the type of person that I am, like, I'm going to call you as many times as I need to. But also I started feeling bad because I'm like, well, I'm not their only client. Like, this is probably not the normal way that they do business. They probably don't get calls every day, every 2-3 hours from somebody like this, and I'm like, let me be considerate of what they're going through as well and what they're doing as well. But when you actually need something to get done and they actually do it in like 10-20 minutes, you get to realize like, oh, I wasn't asking for too much. You was just taking your time.
Doing what you want to do. Like, no, you do what I say. Let me stop. But yeah, that's all, and I would say even like but by you saying you call every other day or every day, it's almost like really the government is where this all kind of went to hell, right? Like it came back from hell.
Yeah.
But that's why I stick to the same stuff, because you have to predict what the government doesn't get or doesn't understand. And you did that, but then it was like, okay, everything's cool. Yeah. But then it's like, how would I even know to ask where you're physically putting these things? Right. And the vendor didn't ask you either.
Right.
So you know what I mean? It don't matter if you're an expert or not. Really, it's really like the government. And I think even when it comes to services or anything where you have to provide like something in a specific location, it's like you have to think about every single possibility in like said location, whatever. And you guys probably didn't have a site visit or anything, right?
No.
Was there one, like, was it an optional one?
There wasn't, but in the midst of all this, we actually had one last week. After the fact, we're just like, we don't want no more surprises. We want to make sure, there's no door that it can't fit through. We want to make sure that we got everything prepared for this delivery. So we actually had the representative that's been dealing with us go out there for a site visit last week. So
for the washers and dryers specifically.
Yep.
Wow. No, that's a really important lesson to learn. So as far as Unison, I know you said you're the verdict is still out for Zoe. She's like, I don't know. But like as far as like your regular interaction with Unison, are you on it every day? Are you getting does it send emails to you based on what you put your what NAICS code you put in?
Yes. So it does send you emails. It's not every day. I think when we first signed up, it was a little bit more consistent.
Mm,
But now they'll send some, like every now and then they'll send some. And I'm not on there as much as I would like to be. But I have the VA. I'm training the VA currently, or I'm going to be training her this week on, Unison opportunities. But the thing that I like about Unison is the opportunities there are simple. Like they seem more
mm.
simple than SAM. I think SAM is like the globe, right? And then Unison is like just one country. So it's easier to find homogenous things in that one place, right? So it's like
Mm.
you're not looking for 1 second you're looking at little screws, and then the next second you're looking, for something crazy,
Spaceship. Yeah.
right? A spaceship. So everything
Got
is kind of like it's tailored towards what you've already looked for or looked at, but it also gives you opportunities that you know what these are, you know what this is, you know how to do this. You don't need to Google it and figure out what this product is. So I like it for that reason. It has like
mm.
simple things. If I go on Unison right now, the first page, I'm probably going to be like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. But with Sam, I might not even make it through the first page.
Amen. I feel you, Sam. I get alerts. I can't. I use third party to get alerts because I refuse. Unless I'm looking for previous pricing, I don't even touch Sam personally unless I'm going directly from a third party link to Sam. I ain't scrolling. I ain't clicking on page 2, 3, 4. I can't. Like you said,
Right.
it's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Um, so let me get a couple of questions. There was one or two questions. And is it Vanita said, did you have to negotiate your vendor's restocking fee?
Oh, for the washers, right?
Yeah.
So we thankfully, the hard mounts, our vendor said, those sell out really easily. He was actually like, I'm thankful, I'm glad that we have some in, because I think they ship from like Wisconsin to Texas. So he was like, I'm glad we have some in our Texas warehouse because I can easily get rid of those. So he didn't speak to me about any restocking fee or anything like that.
Oh, well, that's helpful because he's probably getting a pretty significant profit, I would say.
Yeah.
So, where do you guys house all your information? Do you use a CRM? Do you use a Google Drive? Do you use
We use
We
OneDrive.
OneDrive? Okay. You use like a spreadsheet?
It's like a bunch of different folders with different instructions, and we have like a pipeline where we put our interested solicitations, and then we'll go through those with our VA and pick which ones we like, and then we'll move them to work in progress, and we kind of split those out to who should do which ones and take it from there.
Y'all making this so simple.
Yeah.
Like, I think I asked you, Free. I was like, why is it that you feel you're winning? Where respectfully, a lot of people have been talking about this, thinking about it, dreaming about it, bidding, and they're not winning. Why do you feel like you're winning pretty easily? Like,
I would say it's really just following the requirements.
what? Wait. Doing what?
Just following the requirements. And I would also say this too. I think just actually completing, actually submitting requirements or submitting your proposals. I met somebody while I was out and about. I was at this place called Rose and Ryan, Atlanta, having a drink, and I was with one of my friends. We were talking about GovCon. I had my laptop out. I was showing him like a couple
At the
things
bar?
at the bar. At the bar.
Oh, that's when you know it's real right
At
there,
the bar.
boy. He said, I don't work always, okay?
And then the waitress, she's or the bartender, she's like, "Excuse me, are you guys talking about government contracting?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, I've had a Sam account for 2 years," and she showed me like she was just on it, literally maybe an hour or two before I got there. She was like, "Look, I get notifications, I get this, I get that." So she's all excited. So I'm like, "Oh, that's dope! Like, teach me something. You've been doing this for 2 years." She's like, "I actually haven't put in a single bid in 2 years." I was like, ever? No, like she did not submit one. So I feel like, that's something that might be more common than you think, in
Oh,
terms of
yeah.
people looking through solicitations, maybe even contacting vendors to try to secure that, but actually not going through and actually putting it in. And I
Even
think
if
when you
it's
do that,
friends.
right, it's
Mhm.
like you miss 100% of those the shots you don't take. I think we're just taking shots right now.
Yeah.
But like you said it all, because that is really what a lot of the problem is people are just afraid. They're afraid of the government, they're afraid of failing, afraid of it all.
Yeah,
Where you guys really are like, I just did what they said. It's like that's literally all it is compared to any other business, right? Like you've done a lot of businesses, y'all done a lot of business, I've done a lot of businesses and had a lot of jobs, and you have to be super creative. You might not have any instruction or very little. And this one is literally black and white. Do
yeah,
this, deliver it like this, tell me how much it's going to cost, have a nice day. That's it. Like you
yeah.
said, they didn't even say congratulations. They were like, hey, here's the
Nuh-uh.
PO. That's it. Do what you said you was going to do. And that makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I think you were talking about earlier, like how your day is structured. You getting up at 4 in the morning. Zoe, you getting up at 4?
Like 6.
That's good. That's good. I don't think the sun in Atlanta, I don't think the sun is even up at 6. So that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So you're getting up, you're looking, first thing you do, eyes open, and it's like looking at Unison, looking at email.
No, I would go crazy if I was doing that because I
Okay,
am that
good.
type of person. Like if I will work all day and be okay with it.
That's
So
that young strength. Are you 25 too, Zoe? Not to be all up in your business.
26.
Okay, yeah, y'all baby. So y'all, that's that young strength. You don't need naps like we do, the 40 plus crew. But go ahead.
yeah, no. So first thing I do is I go to the gym in the morning.
Yes.
I like getting there early, and this is something new. This is something that I've always wanted to do in terms of waking up like at the crack of dawn, like 5 a.m., 5 a.m. I've always wanted to do this, but I this last month has been really the month that really enabled me or empowered me to be able to do that. And for me, it was just because I understand how my day goes when I wake up at 8, and I always feel like I don't have enough time in the day. And I always kind of beat myself up about not being able to do certain things because I got a Toro business. Sometimes the cars, they breaking down. I got to run here and do this, do that. So some of those things will take up your entire day. So
Yeah.
just looking at all the different things that I was like I like to do and I'm into, the only way for me to be able to make the most out of my day is if I wake up just a little bit earlier, because even if I sleep late, I'm not going to be as productive working late as I am working early.
That's why well, I don't do it no more. I used to get up at 4 in the morning, go to the gym in the morning. I don't do that anymore. But like that before the world wakes up, it's like your brain is clear.
Yeah.
Birds are not even chirping yet. Birds are still asleep. And
Yeah.
you really do. That's a very productive time of day for me. I know a lot of people will stay up late, but I was staying up late and still had to get up early. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. So let me
Yeah.
just get up earlier. Just even
Yeah.
if it's an hour, even if it's 30 minutes, you can get a lot done in 30 minutes, like prior to when you wait to the last minute and you're like rushing out the door. And then your brain is all foggy and it's just a lot. So that is something that I really can really appreciate. So
Yeah.
as far as like your assistant, so right now you have one virtual assistant, you two are working together. Now, do you see the need? I mean, because you got essentially two contracts under your belt, right?
Mhm.
So let's say the pending ones all become, you get awarded, which that's what we hoping for. So are you gonna just keep it the way it is, or do you guys plan on hiring internally, or
Um,
just see what happens?
to see what happens because I was with you. That's why I wanted to join also when you were like, you have to give so much time to the VAs. So I think we need to solidify training and maybe even making training videos before we even think about another.
Mm,
Yeah.
no, I love that. I love that. And so you guys just learned about basically government contracting spring.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not laughing at you. It's just like it could all be so simple. Isn't that what Lauryn Hill said? It could all be so simple. It's like that's just follow what the hell they said. So you guys don't do any local contracting?
We haven't started that, but I looked at the one for Georgia and it seems way more simpler than
Yeah.
damn.
So simple. So
Yeah, we
simple.
have to start doing that.
We bid on one for a school system, a county school system. they wanted to change out all of their paper towel and toilet paper receptacles, and they wanted paper towel and toilet tissue, and it was like 2.5 million. We didn't win. I think we did like 2.7, and the person that won was like 2.5. I was like, for paper towel and toilet tissue.
Wow.
So, contrary to popular belief, there is a lot of money at the local level, and there's products at the local level. So, not to shit on DLA. Do you guys use DLA, by the way?
Nope.
No.
Very ancient.
You're not interested?
Very ancient. I tried.
I opened it. I can't.
I tried.
Look, I agree. You got to get the little card in the mail, and then you got to do all these things. And I'm not. People are successful on DLA. We know that, and now we're finding out that you could be successful on Unison, because I was not a believer. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Maybe they changed it since when I first started doing Unison, but I'm so grateful that you guys have found the thing. So as far as products, so you said no more services, at least for now, right? So
no. I think also part of, maybe for me personally, not being completely into services was limiting belief, because some of those contracts, like you said, 2.5 million for service. Now I can conceptualize 6 figures, right? I can conceptualize 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800,000, but getting to like 2 million, 1.5 million, like those are bigger amounts, bigger problems, bigger responsibilities, bigger solutions, bigger everything, right? So I think at that time it was more so me having limiting beliefs about having that at one time. I used to watch people say, oh, we only have 4 or 5 contracts, we've only done 4 or 5 contracts, but those are like $1 million ones, and I'm here saying, oh, I want to do 50 products, and my 50 products might only come up to year 1, or all of those 50 will come up to year 1. So I think, just the process of also just waking up earlier has allowed me to have more time to really just study and self-develop and all these different things. And I'm seeing how important it is, because, I learned a lot about myself going through that whole thing with the washers and the dryers, because every time I got an email, before I even looked at it and I got a buzz, I would think negatively. I would think, oh my God, what's about to go wrong now? Or, oh, what's going? But Zoe got this phrase that she says, think about what's the best that could happen. People always say, what's the worst that could happen? She always says, what's the best that could happen?
Shout out to Zoe. Yes, we all need a Zoe in our life. Look, somebody's gonna be trying to hire Zoe. You better hold on tight. Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, so I think now I'm open to services. I even had a conversation with one of my friends. He had won a government contract as a contractor to do like healthcare services, and he made millions off of that one. So while I was talking with him, his first thing was, oh, I want a $10 million one. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's all mindset. And some people can throw out that number like it's nothing, and others they tremble at that number, and you can actually decide which person you want to be.
Oh, I love that. Give me goosebumps. Oh, what's it called? Revitalizing me. Because you get beat down after a while. You be like, F all this, but you guys giving me scrump right now. So I appreciate this even for myself. Zoe, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, it's definitely not no more services, because I feel like that is what will actually make us full time with this, because of the residuals that come with that in the long term, like 5-year contract and stuff like that. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. It takes more work, because the proposal could be like anywhere from 5 to 12 pages.
Now, services can go up to 100.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I'm in construction, so I see 100 pages and I'm like, oh yeah, that's regular. Yeah. So I can see there's a significant mindset, right? I'm like, 12 pages, that's a dream, but that's a lot for y'all. Okay. Definitely a mindset there. Okay. No, I love that. So are you sticking to a specific type of product? Because those two things are, washers and dryers is not weird, but I don't think I've ever seen a washer and dryer contract just out here in the free world. So are you guys looking for something that seems like super, super simple, or is like the process seems like it's simple? Or
I don't think we're going to choose a niche for products. I think maybe when we get more experience with services, we might choose a niche for that. But I know you said, what's one thing that you learned with his washer and dryer situation? I would say if we did niche with that, which we probably won't, is now we know to offer all the different types and make sure that that's what they want.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a benefit with choosing niche, but I don't think right now we're going to.
And I don't think, especially with Unison, is probably, or even, and I'm going to bite my words because usually I'm like, yeah, you need to stick to a niche. But I'm good with y'all, especially. But if you you found like a platform, though, I think that because you're on this platform and you understand how this platform works, and now with each thing that you're doing, you're like, let me make sure they understand this because it is on Unison, maybe compared to on a local level where someone has messed it up for everybody. So it's super detailed, like sometimes I even think about that. I'm like, if it's 100 pages, it's probably because they're like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this because somebody came before us and messed it all up. So, that does, I'm good with that. If my little opinion matters, that at least if you got the platform, it doesn't necessarily matter what the product. And I think going back to Ivan's point is reusing the same the same vendors will, that saves you because you guys are new, right? But when you get into year 2, you're going to be tired of calling new people and figuring out new personalities. So you probably will want to stick to at least a type of thing. Like this company makes a lot of steel products. I don't know, just like something to where it's easier to go to this one company regardless, like what it is.
Yeah.
Be multiple things, just this one vendor that you can deal with, right?
Absolutely.
So what's you all's goals? What's the end of the year goal? What is, because so far you said you made 6 bands on your very first contract out the gate. Second one, you said 20. People that came on this channel that paid the government to do the contract.
Oof.
Like they paid, they were in the negative, and they're like, oh, it was fine. Like there's no qualms, no issues, no aggravation. Y'all in the black out the gate.
Yeah.
So I see your the projections to be super high and your trajectory of your business to be super high.
Absolutely. Personally, my goals is I
got it written down.
Yeah, it's 75 to 80K in profit.
Woo! By the end of the year.
However that looks like by the end of the year, by God's grace, that's the goal. And I think even coming from like real estate and stuff like that, like those numbers were easily achievable if you had the right platform or you had the right systems, right? So now I'm understanding with this, the biggest change in mentality is instead of you going out there to seek out people who want to sell to you, you're getting orders, and it's way different. You can fulfill an order faster than you can probably go find somebody who needs this service that you're providing. So me saying 75 to 80K a month, that could sound ridiculously high or incredibly high, but just kind of seeing how the opportunities are laid out here, they're telling you, hey, we need this, right? And you have the opportunity to go out and you kind of control the market in a way. And so that's personally my goal. And also I want more VAs. I love VAs. I love training people. I love partnerships, and also you're making a difference in those people's lives. I've had 6 different VAs in the course of 3 years just doing different things for me. And each of them, like I've grown to build an actual relationship with them to where I'm having a meeting with them. Their kids is running around and saying hi to me and stuff like that. So I enjoy being able to, be a financial benefit to somebody else.
You want to give people jobs. I love that. That's always been my little goal. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't appreciate it, but you're finding people who really appreciate it, and then it grows from there. What about you, Zoe?
My goal, I want to secure at least one 5-year contract with services making anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a month for 5 years straight.
Right. I need to know that money's coming every month. Right. No, I'm with you 1,000%. So when it comes to like, are you guys going to events? Are you all like building essentially your brand or building partnerships with other people outside of who you got to communicate with through Unison?
So far, not really.
They said ain't nobody on our level, so we ain't talking to them. They're not like us. And look, on that same token, I'll say, I know you guys aren't new to business, but when you start doing this, and you guys are going to get millions quickly because you're already there, right? The pathway is already paved. You guys got it really figured out. And this is from somebody that's been doing this for 10 years now. Okay. You guys are going to make millions. That's easy. As long as nothing happens internally, y'all will be good. So understand that you're going to lose people in this process. First of all, a lot of people don't understand government contracting. So you're going to lose a few right there. And then other people are going to be jealous. There's going to be other people that you're going to give a chance and they're going to give you their ass to kiss. And then you're going to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, just like any other business, just like any other path in life. So just remember, in this process, that's a part of the process. If I can give my little piece of advice, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's make sure I say that. So, okay, good. Because that's mama talk right now. Okay, that's mama talk. So they said they ain't built no relationships yet, but partnering, how does that work with products? Like, can you, besides the vendors, like, can you come together as this is what we do as veterans, right? We'll come together as a veteran conglomerate and then go after really, really big projects. But I don't really do products. Yeah. So is that something that maybe you've heard throughout your time?
So I have heard, so if we can't bid on, because there's set asides and stuff like that. So we're excluded from bidding on those. But if you have somebody who fits that set aside, maybe you could do the work to kind of, you know what I'm saying? You could do the work and then you just joint venture it.
I'm open to that.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm open to that.
Why you say it like that?
Like, I'm open to it. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, look, they got to be like you, right? Yeah. They got to pass the Zoe test before they can, get invited into the circle. I hope I'm invited to the circle because I got
invited.
I appreciate that.
You in the circle? Come on.
Right. I'm in the circle. So if it's a set aside for SDVOSB, woman owned, well, you got woman owned, but like if it's any other ones that you don't have, I got MBE, DB, all that stuff. I don't know if they really count those that much, but if it does have those, you got me, and then you got people that are going to watch the replay. So there's a couple of little questions in here, and then this went by so fast, like so fast. So do you need a cage code to bid on contracts in Unison? That's a good question.
Absolutely.
Okay, because it's federal, right?
Yep. Yeah, the ones we're finding are still coming from SAM, so we still have to abide by the SAM requirements.
That's a great question. So they're all from SAM.
Yeah.
They're just buried in the back of SAM, like somewhere in the depths of SAM that we just don't usually find. Okay, got it. Thank you, Dylan. I'll be trying to keep it, what I'm saying? The energy matches with my guests, so we all be out here clowning. So, okay. Come on, Sheena, we doing a product? No, I'm giving you the alley oop to Zoe and Free. Like that's their specialty. So y'all can work together. He said, let's connect.
For sure. Let's do it.
Jules from start to finish. So, okay, I always say this. I don't know if y'all get to the end of my videos. I'm going to say what I say, and I'm going to look at you like, hey, make sure that you understand that people are going to be harassing you after the replay, okay? So how can they find you? But make sure you know that your time is money, okay? I know Free know that. Zoe's sweet, but like make sure that you are not giving away your time, too much time for free, okay? Because you guys are talking about something that I've never talked about on this channel. Wow. So you're gonna have a lot of people, that wanna hear what y'all got to say or need help, right?
Absolutely.
So where can they find Free? Where can they find you?
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is ttg_freezy. So that's TTG for train to grow, and then free, and then add a ZY under it.
Got it. Okay, IG only, and don't come to him saying, "How do I start in Unison?" Okay, because we just went through the whole thing. Tell them, look, send them a link. When they say, how do you send them the link? They got to sit through the time and do like everybody else and learn that way. Okay. And look, free ain't free. Joyce said free. Free ain't free.
I like that.
Don't give away no time for free.
I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and trademark that. I like that.
Right.
I like that.
Let's put it up on the screen so you can remember that. Okay, Zoe, how can they find you?
Mine is the same as the name you see up there. So Zoe Joyelle on all platforms. If you want to reach out, I would prefer Instagram.
Okay. And again, do not reach out saying, how can you help me? You either lead with value, respectful value, because all value ain't valuable to everybody, but lead with respect Damn, I can't even talk today. Respectful, value, or you pay. Watch the video, one of those, but just make sure that you guys are guarding your peace. Okay. So don't reach out at 5 o'clock in the morning talking about, hey, and
I
then
know
Zoe
you
is
will.
not a babysitter. Okay. Zoe is not a babysitter. Okay. So any parting words you guys want to give about this process, your process, anything that you want to share?
Yeah, for me, I would say, you know, this really forces you to get a little bit out of your comfort zone, just because of the amount of calls you're going to have to make, the amount of discipline you're going to have with yourself. So it's not necessarily just about doing the business right, but it's also about doing your life right, doing your morning routines right, doing your daily the things that fuel you on a daily basis, right? And I think that once you have all of those in order, it's going to be easier to stay consistent, because that is the biggest obstacle that, you know, we in this generation face. The distractions are very many. So if you yourself are disciplined with yourself, it's inevitably going to flow over into your business.
Woo! Boy, do you hear that? Do y'all hear? Look, right, all the snaps. I'm gonna get a soundboard one of these days. Yes, yes, this is your life. This is, you know, your people say, oh, it's just business. But guess what? My business is me. I am my business. Like it is, it's a part of my makeup. That's all what I talk about day in and day out. So
Right.
I appreciate that. Zoe, please.
I would say stay relentless, like you all were talking about before I hopped on. Definitely focus, because I think it's easy to hop on Sam, read one, read the next one, read the next one, and then you never really ever bid. So choose one and just drive it all the way home. And then don't be afraid to submit it.
Yeah.
Just do it and see what happens. And then you can also ask why you didn't win. So there's always an opportunity to learn, because we did that for our first one. And we realized that we didn't acknowledge the amendments or something like that. So now every time moving forward, I'm like, okay, make sure you acknowledge the amendments, make sure you do that. So just do it.
Lessons, lessons. This is simple stuff that a lot of probably 80% people don't do. They're asking me why didn't they win. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you bid on. They're like, Sheena, why didn't I win a contract? What? Like I have no clue. Like I have no idea. And I always say ask for a debrief. Even
Yeah.
like sometimes when you win, ask for not necessarily a debrief, but like, okay, what set hours apart? Because you can, that's a repeatable process, right? Where you could, they'll say, look, you guys responded quickly, or you all, like you said, you were polite when we had to call and or email about fixing certain things. Like this is a people business. They work for the federal government. I used to work for the federal government, okay? And they can be a little cranky. They can
Yeah.
be a little cranky. And sometimes someone being nice to them will be the difference. They're like, okay, let me really pay attention to their proposal because I like them.
Yeah.
Zoe was nice. Free was nice. And that could be literally if you're matched apples to apples with someone else and you got great customer service, especially when you get into services, any of it, it's all customer service.
Yeah.
Then they might choose you because of how you behave. And like you said, there's some D heads out here, some people who are really entitled, especially some of these new folk who just think all they got to do is bloop, throw something against the wall, and they're like, "Oh, you gonna give me this contract?" That's
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
realize that's not the case.
And I think you know, from just watching you and watching a lot of other people as well, you know, I think you have to really pay attention to what people are telling you, because it's true, unless you're going to find out for yourself.
Right. Learn by doing, learn by seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather see so I can know what to avoid, right? So just rewired. We talked about that earlier on. So you have to go back through the replay. So if there's not any further questions, I'll give y'all 15 seconds to ask any questions that haven't already been answered. And Benjamin Franklin, we are not talking about looking over a proposal. That costs money. That costs money. All right, we already said that we're not doing that. So you have to, make sure that you, and what's his name? Ivan is giving a medal. You can't see it on this side, but yeah. So all great stuff. I really, really, really appreciate y'all. And Zoe coming at the last minute, camera ready. Like what? I
Come on.
appreciate y'all tremendously for the information that you're sharing because you didn't have to do this, and you guys are really like moving the needle. This is a moving the needle moment. You just learned about it, wasn't afraid, worked it out, made it happen. So my humble opinion matters. I'm really, really proud of you guys, and I appreciate again you sharing all your information. and spending time with me tonight because you could have been anywhere else. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to put their information in the description, what they already said, but, you know, just add that in the description. So don't don't put in the comments like, what's their IG, whatever. It's going to be in the description. So I appreciate y'all. Anything else?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Sensei. I appreciate you.
That's too funny. Okay, guys. So y'all hang on for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and end. So y'all, until next time, it's your favorite veteran.
Thank you.
Peace out.